Hey guys, welcome back. It's your man KP67s bringing you another video today. Today's video is going to be bouncing back towards the First Order. Yes, I have not forgotten about the First Order here. And we're going to be talking about probably the most important kind of engine towards the First Order here, and that would be the First Order Officer. Now, the First Order Officer is a support character, and obviously a part of the First Order. As you can see here, his agility is pretty high comparatively to the rest of his stats, so he's got a good amount of physical damage and critical rating, but comparatively, he's going to be a little squishy. He won't have the best health, he doesn't have the best armor. However, with Gear 12 and Gear 12 Plus pieces, they kind of shore up a lot of his deficiency in health. As you can see here, I've got him at about 30,000, which ain't too bad, and his protection also sitting at about 30,000, so total 60k. That's not too bad. He'll take a few hits. He'll be pretty useful in that regard. He's fast. You know, I've got him about 93, plus 93 speed. The higher the better for the First Order Officer, and I'll get into why. I've got a decent amount of potency on him. I'd say I'm on like the upper limit of what I feel is like necessary for most people with potency. If you're sitting at like 60, 70%, I think it's fine, to be honest. Here you can see that I don't really have him modded at all for physical damage. He's not your damage dealer. He's there as a support character through and through. It's an okay amount of armor for a support character, and special abilities are special. Nobody really focuses on that with a physical attacker here. So, going on from there. With respect to his shard location, he is actually quite a significant easy farm. Of note, recently they created the dark side chromium, but I definitely don't recommend any chromium ever, unless you're like totally new and you want to like just quickly rack up a bunch of characters. They do have an $80 pack sitting here for the First Order Ultimate bundle, where it's a bunch of First Order characters. But the key thing here is that he is completely free to play in the Cantina store for 400 currency a pop for 5 shards. He's going to be very quick for you to farm up. This is the way you want to go, guys. With respect to First Order Officer's gear, he's another character where his gear is not the worst in the world. He's got about 3 of the Mark 6 hypo syringes that he requires. He requires 3, I believe, no, 2 of the Mark 8 eyeballs, the biotech implants. I call them eyeballs because it's just, I don't know, it's funner, I guess. Yeah, that's about it, guys. I mean, like, he requires a couple Carbantes, but he's not like a big gear hog, which, of course, conversely means that he's also going to be squishier because he doesn't require so much of the heavy-duty gear like Carbantes, stun guns, etc. But in a properly built First Order team, I don't think it really matters. So, getting into his abilities here, we have his basic here, which is called Capitalize. Deal physical damage to the target enemy. This attack has plus 20% critical damage, just a nice little bump in his damage right there. If an ally has advantage, this attack is a guaranteed critical hit. That's an interesting little point right there, because the First Order is one of those teams where they just spam advantage everywhere. Somebody's going to have advantage. it's just going to be a fact. Someone will have advantage, which means that he will be essentially critting constantly on his basic, since it's guaranteed in this case, unless there's critical hit immunity, which balances it out, but that's neither here nor there. Other than that, pretty straightforward, just amping up his damage basically. His first special here is called Marching Orders. Now this is a very key component to a proper First Order team. Target other ally gains 100% turn meter and advantage for 2 turns. If the ally is First Order, they also gain offense up for 3 turns. You cleanse them, dispel all debuffs from First Order Officer and the target, and then you both get tenacity up for 2 turns. This is like the ultra offensive cleanse right there. Not only are you getting rid of debuffs off of another character, but you're giving them tenacity up, you're giving them offense up, you're giving them advantage, you're giving them instant turn meter, they get to go. It is just a lot of buffs that you automatically give in order to get a certain First Order character working quickly. Most people, i.e. I don't know, a lot of people, I guess, would actually probably toss this onto First Order Executioner to get him to start just hitting people hard in the face as soon as possible. I have a slightly different approach to the First Order that I like to use, but I'll get into it a little later. So that's his special. And then his second special here is called Pinning Shot. Now, quick note here, the AI will always start with Pinning Shot. I think like 95% of the time. In a small amount of circumstances, it'll go ahead and use Marching Orders, but almost all the time it's using Pinning Shot first, so keep that in mind. So he deals physical damage to the target enemy. Wow, they forgot to write deal. Wow, I didn't notice that. Deal physical damage to the target enemy and remove 50% turn meter. If he removed any turn meter, each ally gains 15% turn meter, and all first allies have their cooldowns reduced by 1. This is huge to just keep spamming your abilities over and over and over at a much faster rate, in addition to speeding up your entire team. Now, initially, a lot of people prefer using Marching Orders because automatically you can start like a good TM train rolling by, you know, giving it to First Order Executioner. He crits, everybody gets 10% turn meter, it just kind of dominoes out. But this is also pretty useful too because everybody gains 15% turn meter, which means that everybody now has a better shot of going before your opponent in this case. So that's what I like about this ability here. There's a bit of, especially from a player controlled standpoint, there's a lot of nuance that you can kind of mess around with the First Order. Not as much as the Empire, but enough, I think. So, after going through his abilities, let's go through his mods. I know there's a bunch of rainbow colors here going on. Thank you, Mod 2.0. But don't pay attention to that. As you can see, I've got him modded for 4 speed and just 2 health. I happen to just stick some health mods on him. I think they provide a little bit more benefit for him than anything else because of the fact he's so squishy. Obviously, you want speed in the arrow. I loaded him up very heavily on protection. So his triangle's got protection, he's got he's got a cross potency, and he has protection on the circle. And besides that, the key secondaries you want to be able to run into him are going to be speed, offense, and then just bulking him up a little bit more, protection, health, those types of things, wherever they can fit in your modding. I would definitely recommend going in that direction over like going super offensive with him. He's not there to be offensive, he's there to just cast abilities to everybody else. That way the rest of the First Order just reams the hell out of whoever they're facing. So with respect to uses, guys, the First Order Officer is definitely, I think a lot of First Order experts, I'm nowhere near an expert, but like, you know, I really do like to play around with obviously dark side characters. A lot of the experts would definitely say First Order Officer is like essentially a linchpin for a properly built First Order team. By making him so fast and putting him under a crew lead who gives him an extra 30 speed, you are getting total control of the battlefield, similar to Thrawn. You get to assign who's going to go next, cooldown, all the abilities. Just take total control of the battlefield. And in the battle that you see here, this is my preferred kind of setup here, and I like passing Marching Orders to FOSTP because of the fact that his AoE actually hits super hard because it does special damage, and as well as the fact that it gives everybody buffs. He gets to go again, and then he can call somebody else to come in, smack somebody, i.e. First Order Executioner, smack somebody, and it just keeps this nice little train of TM propagating over and over and over, and you're just feeding advantage to everybody. And that's the First Order shtick. They feed themselves advantage to the point where, honestly, in a well-built offensive team, you really don't need very much critical chance on these guys. They will just keep critting over and over and over and over as long as advantage is spamming over and over. All in all, definitely a very solid character. If you do not have the First Order Officer, you need the First Order Officer. I know he's not nearly as cool as like throwing in both Kylo Rens with like you know, Phasma, I don't know, like some, and then the pilots, like, you know, putting together like really hard hitting characters. But the first order officer is so key that you are really missing out on a lot of the potential that the first order can carry in this game. Alright guys, that concludes my review of the First Order Officer. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please go ahead and leave a like. If you want more videos, please go ahead and subscribe, leave some comments. If you want to give back a little bit of feedback, I'm always open for more feedback. And make sure, I took note of this actually, make sure you're hitting that notification bell so that way you're getting notifications of my videos. Please follow me on Twitter if you want Twitter notifications in case you don't get the YouTube notification. I'm just trying to branch out my notifications a bit more. I don't use Twitter very often, but hey, if you want to join, great. Alright guys, have a good day.